welcome back to my channel. Today I have my May 1 month 1 palette video. So I'm going to let you guys know what palette I'll be using for the month of May, but first I'm going to talk about my April palettes and how that went. So my main palette for April was my Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette, but I also threw in my Lorac Pro because I had a couple shades I was really close to using up and I just wanted to get them gone. I was really inspired because I finished my Pan That palette, my Smashbox Blue Eyes palette this month. I only panned a couple shades out of it, but I finished it and I cleared out all the other shades, and just seeing that empty palette made me really more motivated to actually empty a whole palette without cheating, I guess. So I had the shades Light Bronze and Pewter, and this is how they look now. So as you can see, I finished them off. I really thought it would only take about a week to finish them, but it ended up taking a lot longer. And on top of that, this month there were several days where I didn't wear any makeup at all. So I actually didn't get to wear my Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette as much as I wanted to. I was really happy with how my 1 month 1 palette went in March when I was using the Laura Mercier palette. I just felt like I used every shade in that palette. I did a variety of looks, and I was really happy with kind of forcing myself to use one palette for the whole month. I felt like I really got to know that palette and fell in love with it, and the same thing didn't really happen this month. So on top of trying to use these two shades and not wearing makeup every day, and then also coming back to my house with all this makeup I had been separated from, there were definitely a few days where I went for some eyeshadow that I hadn't been with for 4 months as well. So I'm not really happy with how it went this month for this palette. I did use this, several times during the month. I didn't really go out of my comfort zone too much though, and I definitely didn't get a chance to use every shade in this palette. So I did do a smoky eye with Punk one day, and then for the most part, when I was wearing makeup, I just went for really easy light looks. So my go-to look, not just with this palette, but with any palette, is to kind of do a light shade on the lid and then a kind of brown in the crease. So I would use Stark as my transition shade, then Anaheim or Zone in the crease, sometimes a little bit of Punk to darken up the crease, and then I would use Bathwater, Skimp, or Steady, or Baby on the lid. I don't even know if I got to Baby this month. I know I used all three of these though. And then Blonde I've used as a highlight. And even though this isn't matte, I usually go for a matte highlight shade. I really like Blonde as a highlight. Hopefully you can kind of see that. It has a little bit of iridescence to it, a little bit of a pink kind of duochrome shift to it, but I really like it. And then I did use Danger as liner just one time, so I don't feel like I had the best month with this palette, and I might revisit it in my 1 month 1 palette kind of project later in the year. I thought about doing it again for May, but just because I've been away from so many of my palettes, I thought I would just mix it up, and if I want to use it again, just wait until later in the year. So I really had a hard time deciding what palette I wanted to use this month. I wanted to use some of my palettes that I haven't used for a long time. I was going to use one palette I have barely used at all, but I changed my mind the other day, so we're gonna see how this goes. So this was the palette. This is my Tarte Rainforest After Dark palette. I almost put this in my Pan That palette instead of the Smashbox palette. So I'm not sure if I want to pan any more eyeshadows this year, but if I do, they'll be from this palette. So I thought I would use it exclusively for this month as kind of a trial run, and then see if I want to eventually pan the eyeshadows in here, either starting later this year or next year. So this is going to be kind of just my trial run. So this is what it looks like. So there are 6 shades, and I am wearing this today actually. I have this kind of all over to set my primer, and then this in the crease, not too exciting, and then I don't remember if I put anything else on my lid. But I also use Champagne as an eyeshadow sometimes and put that in the lid. I've also used the bronzer in my crease, but it's really not that different than this shade right here. So, and it does have these 2 nice purple shades. I really fell in love with the purples in the Laura Mercier palette, so I'm hoping that I will like these just as much. So yeah, so I'm going to go with this palette, which I actually wasn't separated from, but we will see how it goes. So I think this will be nice to wear kind of a really simple look like I am right now, or if I want to do something a little bit more, I can use the gold or the purple shades. So yeah, so we will see how this month goes if I decide I want to pan this anytime soon, and I will let you know at the end of the month how it went and what I'll be using in June. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!